this training or with this series in general, well, for today, let's just do today, the behavior. So over the last 4 weeks, because we skipped a week, we had a week of integration, you could say. We started with developing awareness of our thoughts, right? It's like that is something that it's a prerequisite to really stepping in your power, right? Taking your power back from your thoughts. That's what we're doing essentially. Then the next week was about taking our power back from our emotions, right? These are things we have to do and we don't have to do them. But if you're okay in your life and you are in your power and you're doing the damn thing and you don't struggle with any mental issues, you're on your game, it's great. Maybe you don't need to know this stuff. You don't need to know how our reality is shaped, because that's what we're learning here. What I'm teaching and what I'm learning as well is literally how our reality, the way our life, the way we experience life, that's what we're going through step by step over the last 4 weeks. That's what this series is about, to take control of our life experience, no matter what happens, no matter what other people do. And there's one very important piece that I didn't mention earlier in this morning's little session or whatever. And it's this: before we can even start to change our behaviors, we have to take responsibility. Hello. We have to take responsibility about our behavior, right? But it's not about that. It's about getting out of indecision and getting out of inaction and actually moving the needle forward. But there's things we have to have in place first before we can do that. So who is stuck in indecision and inaction? Who is? Let me know in the comments. And if you're watching the replay, let me know. Who is stuck right now? Do you just feel stuck in life? Let me go ahead and get this. All right. This is the formula for our reality. Okay. So literally something happens, an event, whatever it is. Could be we break up with somebody. It doesn't have to be even a bad event. Good events too, right? These are like, it's not just bad events. It's good events. Like, what good events are happening in your life? Not just the bad ones. But what happens is we have an event, and then we create thoughts about that event. We interpret it in a certain way. We went over this last week, right? The third thing is, or then we have our thoughts, and then those thoughts create emotions, an emotional response. This is how our reality is created. So event, we have thoughts about it, we start feeling a type of way, and then what happens after that, guys? Like, what do we do after we feel a certain way? So somebody breaks up with us, okay, or stops talking to us. Here, I'm going to use one of my situations. Just stops talking after we've been, talking quite a bit. They just stop talking, and immediately I was like, what's wrong with me? This is what we do, right? What's wrong with me? Why am I not good enough? Or, those were the thoughts I started to think. And then that made me emotional to where I was crying, I was upset and everything. And then that led to a behavior, which was me not showing up in my life or, me acting out and me texting this person like crazy, like, how dare you, da 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 da. And then that behavior created a result. You have a result, an outcome. Every single event or situation in your life was the result of this formula right here. And when you know this, what we're talking about, it's manifestation in action. You guys, there's so much power behind that. So much power. Like, can you, it almost blows my mind to think about it, of how profound this knowledge is and how even more profound it is to put it in action. I think I told you guys earlier, some of my apprentices is what I'm calling them now. I don't like to call them clients, but students and people I work with, they're saying that just after a couple, 2 or 4 weeks, maybe, working together or implementing this stuff you're learning right now, they are already seeing dramatic changes in their life because they're able to catch their negative thoughts. When we're able to do this, because that was a situation from about 1.5 years ago that I just told you guys about. And it was my first situation in my life that I practiced this. And I consciously did it, okay? I was aware that I was doing it. And I remember making a post about, I was happy, I was smiling, and I said, when you can stay happy, when you can be happy, and you can genuinely be happy, not the fake happy, not the mask happy, right? But the genuine happiness, and tell ourselves the truth. We're not seeing illusions, we're not making things up, but when we can stay happy and in our power, regardless of what other people do to us, or regardless of how they treat us, that is staying in your fucking power, right? And I remember that day forward, I thought, I'm not going to allow other people to their judgments and stuff on me to keep me from doing something that I feel strongly called to. Like it's my calling, it's my purpose. It's my thing. I will never stop doing this because it's not even really me. I don't know when I'm doing this. It's just, I got to share this information, right? So I'm just sharing that with you so you can think about your own situations, okay? The ones that you're not happy with. And that's where we're going to start tonight. So this first step, I'm going to give you guys 3 steps to doing this. Because if you're not really good at catching your thoughts right now, that's okay. All right. If you're not real good about checking in with yourself every day, that's okay too. You still have another chance. Now look at your life. I want you to just for a moment look at your life. Maybe you can have a journal. Write out every problem that you have, or that you think you have. Right? They're problems. They're actually opportunities and challenges. But we're not going to get there yet. But just write down all the shitty things that are going on that you believe are shitty right now. And then I do want to do one thing. I want to make sure we're clear with this. Before you can see any success or results or effectiveness with these techniques, there's one thing you have to do, and that's to take responsibility for you, okay? For your reactions, for why you are where you are, for why you're not able to do whatever it is you say you can't do because your husband won't support you. Whatever you're blaming on someone else, let's stop that right now. Let's take our power back. When you blame, you're giving power away. So who are you blaming right now for your life being not looking the way you want it to? And be honest here, you guys. 100% honesty. Like nobody. It's not bad or good. It's information. So who are you blaming? All right, that's fine. Write it down. And say, I, Nicole, I, Sarah, take responsibility for who I am, where I am, what I do, my emotions, my thoughts, my situations, my part in my life. Now, I'm not saying take responsibility for when someone has treated you like crap, someone who's disrespected you. You can't control that. That is somebody else's doing. But you can control the way you respond to it. And I even go as far to say that our stress isn't stress until we make it stress. we make it mean something more than what it is. And I talked about that in last week in our workshop last week. So go back and watch that one if you have not yet, because that is something you need to watch before. And so that's it. First thing, take responsibility. No more blaming, okay? Because it won't work. I'm about to tell you all this stuff I'm going to share with you. It's not going to work if you are saying, yeah, but so-and-so makes me angry. And they're the reason I'm depressed because they don't do what I need them to do, okay? I am not happy because my friend, or whatever it is, right? Just be honest. So that's the first thing we have to do. The second thing is now to look at what areas of our life are not going the way we want them to, okay? And then the third is to take action and to do what I'm about to tell you or share with you, okay? So we're going to talk about getting out of indecision and inaction. But first we have to take responsibility to find the areas that we are struggling in. Because if you have results in your life that you're not happy about, it goes back to a behavior. And that behavior goes back to an emotion. And that emotion goes back to a thought. And that thought goes back to an event. So when you've done all of that, you're clear on what is not going well in your life, what results you don't like, okay? The next thing is, what do you want? What do you want? How do you want those situations to look? Okay? Here we go. So I want you to do a paper like this and put a line down the middle and say problems, and then put desires over on the other side. Okay? So problems and desires. And then just name out, just for the sake of time right now, name out 3 things, if you have 3 things that aren't going well. And then on this side, I want you to just imagine what it would, if life was perfect and everything was going the way we wanted it to, how would that problem actually look? How would that problem turn into something that serves you? Okay? So once we know that, so for example, I'll give you an example. So with the example I gave you just a minute ago about the person that just stopped talking to me for no reason, my problem was that I was dating this person or talking or whatever, and then they stopped talking to me, and my problem was, I wasn't good enough, or, that was the thought I was thinking, or my problem was that I'm no longer in this relationship or whatever. I'm not good enough to be in this relationship, okay? Then the desired outcome was for me to be happy no matter what. Like, I wanted to be happy. I didn't want this person to affect the way I showed up. And so I would have wrote the problem here, the desire here. And then we look at our behavior. All right, well, I was like texting like a mad person, right, to this other person. Like, it was just manic. I was crying. I was screaming. I was telling myself I was not good enough. I did something wrong, right? That's what I was telling myself. And so I had to go back then to the behavior. And I'm like, okay, if things were going the way that I really want them to go, how would I be behaving? And that was smiling and being calm and knowing I had nothing to do with it. Okay? Rather see it. So for me, this person stopped talking to me and I was a mess. And so my other way I wanted to be was I wanted to be calm and happy and unattached from anyone else affecting my emotions. Okay? And so then I thought about the behavior I wanted, and I was like, I want to be happy and I want to be calm. So what was it I needed to think in order to feel that way? And it was this, that his reaction or his behavior of just ghosting me had nothing to do with me, right? When people do shady stuff to us and they're mean and they project on us, not even mean, but they're disrespectful, that's not our fault. That's not my fault, right? And so as I started to change my thoughts, guess what else happened? I began to feel better just by the words I was telling myself in my head. And then I didn't just tell myself in my head. I actually told somebody. I called my best friend and I actually said the words to her that it had nothing to do with me. I am fine. I'm awesome the way I am. That doesn't mean that I was insecure. So if you see the pattern here is that I was looking to see what it was I could think that would make me feel good. And that is what I did. And it changed my whole life in that moment. I remember the moment. I remember the situation because it was a learning. It was a chance for me to apply what I had been learning, right? With all the CBT and the REBT and what we're learning right now. And so it was a defining moment of my life. So that's what I want for you. So do that. And I have the worksheets, but just make a list of your problems. And then what happens is, so you'll look and say, okay, what is it? How would I rather this look? And we're going to do that. And then we'll go back to the behavior, then to the thought, the emotions, to the thoughts. This is a reason to get on a 30-minute call with me so I can actually walk you through this with one of your problems. That's what I would love to do. So I will drop my link schedule the 30-minute call and let's shift around a problem that you have right now so that way it's no longer a problem. And then change your behaviors so then your results in your life are different, okay? Again, if everything's going perfect in your life, perfect, all right? Or maybe you have no idea what I'm talking about because you don't know what you want. Who doesn't know what they want? Because now we're going to get into inaction and indecision. The main reason for me, when I get into indecision, or like if I can't make a decision between two things, it's either I am uncertain about what's going to happen if I make that decision, okay? Or I don't know what I want, so I don't know what the better choice is. And then another one, here, I'll tell you the other ones, sorry. The other ones, the reason that we form these blocks of indecision is we're not sure what we want. We are trying to be perfect. We are addicted to perfectionism. And the other one is, we're uncertain or we're just indecisive. And we just can't make a decision because we just don't know what we want. And so, to get past this, which is on your worksheets, number one, you have to know what you want. What do you want? What are your goals in life? Like 3 goals, like what do you want? How do you want to feel in your life? What do you want your life to look like? This is why we created visions last, couple months ago. We created visions for our life and the beginning of the year. And that is something we can keep going back to if we start to get hazy, because this is the 4th month, right? Things start to fall off. All the momentum and the activating energy we had at the beginning of the year, where we're like, yeah, I'm going to meet all my goals. Now it's slowing down because there are other things that have crept into our mind and made those things seem less important, or were the way we're talking to ourselves. We're like, we're not going to ever reach that goal or whatever. We start the self-talk, the negative self-talk. I pray that anyone in my space is not doing that. I hope that we can catch it. However, it's okay if it is. Just accept it. So 1, what do you want? What is it you want in your life? Okay. That is what's going to help you get out of indecision. When you know because if you don't have a direction, then you're floating around in the wind. And you're living on autopilot. And this is one of the reasons we get stuck in inaction. When I learned all this, I thought, oh my gosh, that's how my life was before 5 years ago. I was a feather in the wind, just going wherever someone would accept me, whatever job would hire me, whatever relationship, whatever man would date me, whatever, that's exactly how I lived my life. And because I didn't have a North Star. I didn't have that direction as I do now, because I thought I was just surviving, right? I was living to survive and to have fun. I mean, I love to have fun. But when you don't have a goal, then you're running around aimlessly. And so, indecision. To get out of indecision, one of the things is know what you want, okay? And then 2, you want to, when it comes to perfectionism, if that's the reason you're not taking action is because it's not perfect yet, you're never going to take action. It's never going to be perfect. Ever. If I waited for my challenges and my worksheets to be perfect before I got on here and taught or talked about anything, I would never have made the group, right? And sometimes I definitely am not organized. I am all over the place. But you know what? My message is the only thing I care about getting across to everybody, is the message that I'm coming on with to help everyone feel better in their life. And more than that, to take their power back and then stay in it and then design their life experience. And this is the formula that's going to happen. I mean, that's just a reality that this is how your reality is created by what we're learning in this 5-week series. Okay. And so getting out of indecision is knowing what you want, get off of autopilot, take your power back, put your big girl panties on. You're an adult now and you can make shit happen. Like, trust that you can make stuff happen in your life. We don't have to be waiting for other people to give us permission anymore. And so to get out of indecision, know what you want. And then another idea is to think of like test the waters on both of them. Okay. So say you have to choose between two guys. We'll just use two guys. And one of them, kind of test the waters. Ask them, what is it you want in a man, first of all? Like, I have a friend who is crystal clear on this, and it's so much to where her expectations are super high. And Shara, you're on here. I wasn't talking about you, but I know you have expectations as well, as we all should. But, so when we're making a decision, what are the pros and cons of both? What feels the best? Again, this is when I come to my spiritual practice and I tune into my intuition. Like, okay, what feels the best? And then I get my pendulum out and I can do some pendulum work, or I just listen for my intuitive yes or my intuitive no, or I feel it, right? That's what I do if I'm backed into a corner of like, I really just can't make a decision. Okay. So figure out what you want, consult with your aligned support, spirit support, human support. And what that is, if you guys don't know what aligned support is, you wouldn't go ask, or you guys know how like you would ask people of your family something and they're like, oh, you're crazy. Like if you started a new business, you quit your job, your good paying job, and you started a business and you asked your family for advice and they think you're stupid for quitting your job. Is that aligned guidance? No, because they don't think what you did. They don't respect it anyway. So why are you going to ask them? There's nothing wrong with them, nothing personal, but you want to surround yourself with people that have either been where you are or are all for your well-being and for you to succeed. And also, so now with the spiritual team, who's your spiritual team? Who is it? Just your higher self? Is it God? Is it Jesus? Is it the goddesses? Is it, whoever? You have a higher guidance system. Your intuition is perfectly fine. That's your inner guidance system. So that's when it comes to indecision, right? To take action. Like clarity comes from action, not from thinking. Inaction, when we're stuck in inaction, it's because we don't have that spark. All right. So we all have a spark. We have to have a spark. It's called activation energy before we start anything. When you get a really good idea, right, for a business or a project or just a good idea, a road trip, maybe, I don't know, and you go and then like a couple weeks down the road, you're like, oh my God, I'm so over this. A lot of us that like adrenaline rushes, we love our activation energy. But that is not reality for it to be there all the time. That's not how you stay consistent. That's not how I've stayed consistent doing with the Soul relaunch. And I have stayed consistent. I have showed up every week. I post as much as I can, or when I have things to actually post. I haven't dropped off the earth like I used to for a couple months, and then I'll pop back up, right? No, I've got over that hump, because this is how you create activation energy. So here we go. It's called the 5-second method or technique or whatever you want to call it. And it is about, I'm going to read this to you. Okay. So do you ever find yourself knowing what you need to do, but just not able to get yourself to do it? Okay. In order to understand why this happens, you need to understand activation energy. So in chemistry, activation energy is the term used to describe the phenomenon that a tremendous amount of energy is needed in order to start any chemical reaction. Then after this initial spark, a lot less energy is needed to keep it going. Activation energy applies to human behavior too. So not having activation energy is why it can be so hard to get started on something, especially if we work all day, right? And then we're like, we're going to start a side hustle. Then we get off work and we're like, oh, I'm so tired. I'm just going to watch Netflix or, whatever. Like we don't do the thing. And so sometimes we need to create a spark to get us moving. Also going to the gym, starting a new habit, right? We have to have that. And so that's big enough to keep us going. Like it has to be big enough. So other times we need to light a fire under our ass, which I said that last week. So that's funny. Light a fire under our ass or butt or whatever to remind us the big reason why we need to take this action. Oh, okay. So the best strategy to create the spark that helps you take the first step toward anything is to use the 5-second rule. Okay. So why 5 seconds? Because your brain is wired to avoid risk and fear change. That's what our ego does, right? Our ego tries to keep us safe. So to avoid risk and fear change, when the thought comes to your mind of the thing you want to do, but that you haven't done because of fear or resistance, which is why we are stuck in inaction, if you really want to know, if you wait more than 5 seconds, your brain will try to talk you out of it. It will bring up all the reasons you shouldn't do it, okay? Why it isn't a good time, what could go wrong, or the most clever one, I don't feel like it. Well, unless what you're trying to do is 100% pleasurable, which it can't be. Otherwise, you wouldn't have to make yourself do it. So like doing the dishes, that was my example earlier. I hate doing the dishes. Chances are you'll never feel like it. So don't get me wrong. I'm not suggesting you should be forcing yourself to do things that truly aren't for you. Don't make yourself suffer. Don't go against what your heart is telling you. But if your heart is telling you yes and your body still won't get in gear, give it a nudge. And so here we go. So by taking action, any small action within 5 seconds, you outsmart your own brain. So like after dinner, when I see dishes in there, or, during the day, when I walk past the dishes or the sink and I see them all sitting there and I'm like, oh my God, I gotta do the dishes. In that moment, I start counting down 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and I start cleaning the dishes. Sometimes I'll put on an audio thing. I've done a live while I was doing the dishes. Remember that, Sarah? When I did a live when I was doing the dishes, I've tried to make the dishes pleasurable. I've tried to make them fun in some way. And so anytime you have an idea that will better your situation, act immediately. So within 5 seconds, just do it. When the thought comes, start counting down from 5 down to 1, okay, and get moving. There are 2 reasons that this is the key to why the second rule works. Number 1, it signals your brain that there is an end to the countdown. If you counted from 1 to 5, you could keep going. Counting distracts your mind, preventing it from thinking you out of it. So next time an idea comes to mind, something you know that if you did it, you'd receive positive results, use the 5-second rule to do it now. And so I should make that phone call, count 5, 4, and then think of where your phone is. 3, 2, reach for your phone and dial the number. So there are so many uses for this. And so she says that I use this immediate action strategy on myself to get myself to stop procrastinating. Then when it worked, I used it on everything. Another excellent use of the 5-second rule is to start a new habit. Okay. Then another thing that has helped me get out of inaction personally is we're usually trying to run away from pain, right? When the things that we do that we want to do are usually something that's going to help us feel better, right? But yet we don't think of it that way. We think, oh, I don't want to feel depressed anymore, so I'm going to take this medicine so the pain goes away. Or, with the dishes. Okay, perfect. I'll just go back to that. I think, oh my God, I got to stand there in one spot and just I don't even know why I hate it so much as I'm explaining. I don't even know why I don't like doing them because they're really not that bad, right? But instead of thinking, oh, I'm going to have to stand there and do all this, I think of, it feels so good to reach into my silverware drawer and get a clean fork out instead of opening it up and there's nothing there, right? And so you think about the rewards of the thing that you don't want to do. What's going to happen because of it? How is your life going to be easier for doing it? Okay. And so that can help you get out of inaction. If there are any other reasons that if you just don't know what you want to do, we need to start there. Okay. But if you do, and you were just stuck between those 2 things, do some of these techniques that I shared, or schedule a one-on-one call. I'll drop the link and I'll help you get through it. Okay. Because this is how you change your life. The feeling of it. This is how you take control of it. So I think that's about it. That's all that just kind of all together there. But what it is your behavior. If you have not become aware of how you behave, it's time to do it. It's time to do it because it's just, you got to do it. That's how you're going to get shit done. That's how you're going to reach your goals. And so also, if you've never set a goal, if you don't set goals or you set goals and you never, you don't know how to do it, let me know. Let's do it together because it's something that is fundamental to your healing process. Okay. And so I am going to pull a card from the chakra thing because I want to pull one for myself. whoever is on here now or watching the replay, if you want me to pull a card for your chakra, see what chakra is kind of out of balance, let's do it right now. If you're watching the replay and put, I want a card or whatever, let me know and I will pull a card for you. But those worksheets will be in the group. And yeah, so that is how you get out of indecision and inaction. Next week, we're going to do, I went ahead and extended it. We're going to do one that wraps it all together. It all comes full circle. There was too much material for this one. I was going to do it in this one, but that's too much. We're going to do it next week. So if you want a card, let me know. Go ahead and just say card, please. And these are chakra cards. And so basically what it's going to do, it's going to help. What it does for me is when I'm feeling blocked or I'm feeling off or frustrated, or even when I'm having a good day, I'm like, hey, how can I make it better? I pull one of these cards. I really like these chakra cards now. So I'm going to pull one for myself until somebody tells me they want one. And maybe for the whole group. Ooh. Perception. So I think this was for the whole group about look at how you're looking at things. What are the meanings that we're putting behind things? And I'm talking to myself here as well. Let's see what it says in here. But perception, the emerald stone. I do know about the emerald stone. And I literally opened up to it. That's so funny. Okay, so the emerald stone, it's the perception. So it says, often our journey brings us full circle. Didn't I just say that? Full circle? Leaving us to wonder why things happen. Emerald stone teaches us to follow through on whatever is before us. Going back is not an option. Spirit is funny because I think they're just like joining in on the fun of the whole topic of this life. So basically saying, if you are, it says, what in my life needs tending? So what problems or what's going on, and how good will I allow myself to feel? Ooh, I love that. How good will I allow myself to feel? How do you feel like it's okay to feel good, or should you not feel good? Do you not think you should be happy? And it says key ideas: transformation in the heart, change in perception, the unknown, and promise of a richer experience. So our keywords are beauty, open-heartedness, and appreciation. So wherever you're not showing appreciation, do that. It's going to change it all. And so for the meditation, it is to begin to imagine the emerald stone, and when you see it, place it in your untended garden. Feel waves of emerald light filling you with courage. An emerald stone may have some thoughts to help you. Listen carefully. When you are ready, see what has changed. And so this is a great meditation to get out of indecision. So if you really needed something to, with spirit, I said to rely on them. There you go. I just want you to imagine the emerald stone. So like it's a green color. And so when you see it, place it in your unattended garden. So what in your life are you not tending to? That's how I see that. Like, what is it you're neglecting right now? And what is that decision as far as like, why can't you make the decision? So feel waves of emerald light filling you with courage. Courage is feeling the fear, but doing it anyway. That's literally everything. So emerald stone may have some thoughts to help you, and then just listen. And so it's really just asking for guidance. And it says the heart knows what the eyes cannot see. And so I really think in spirit is saying, tune into your intuition to make those decisions, and just do something. Okay. All right, guys. I'm going to go chill out now and go to bed early tonight. But Friday night, I'm going to do chakra readings on my personal page for whoever needs one. Just to bring up whatever it is that you feel blocked about, and then possibly help you unblock that. And I'm going to do an energy session on my personal page, because I haven't done it in a couple months. After I pull some cards for people, and I want to work on my intuition. And so this helps me strengthen my intuition, right? So, all right, guys, please do the worksheets. I want to know what breakthroughs you have after doing this, of like, wow, I didn't realize I had such a so much control over how I experience something. And it's really, really cool. So, all right, guys, have a good night. Bye.